As I'll ever be. Gotta face the music.
You do have to face it. Welcome to Game Day Battle, where Cleveland sports news meets biased and outspoken opinion. We are shy a Game Day member tonight. That is Brett, who actually had to go under the knife a few weeks back. He's still recovering, and a few little things that he's had to deal with as far as that goes. So happy to hear he is doing well.
Get better, Brett. Get well.
Just on recovery, a slow recovery, and he will be back. So yeah, definitely. Beer raised to you, Brett. We also have a little bit of a different formation tonight. You'll notice Ramon is in the middle because I'm slightly afraid that while I am paying attention to you and the show, I might get a bottle on the back of my head. And that is because I have knocked Dale out of his own league in the playoffs for fantasy football. So,
oh man, I'm like, oh man. I thought you guys just want me in a man with you.
Yeah, ain't that.
No, Mike is definitely safer 2 chairs over. I'd hate for a random backhand or beer bottle to approach his jugular.
Yeah. And really, probably all I have to do is just say 70 points from a defense, and that might just set him off.
Yeah, let me break this down for you, GDB fans. Let me share my fantasy football shame, as I'm sure some of you out there are feeling the same things as well. DST's Project Mayhem goes 10-3 with the best record in the league. Number one seed going against the number 8 seed.
8 seed.
My good friend Mike Glass over here, and no sue for you, who snuck into the playoffs and put up a 71-point performance via Seattle Seahawks defenses against the piss poor Arizona Cardinals. And even though I put up enough points to beat every other team this week,
yep.
Well, I didn't beat the one that counts. Yep. So I am sitting on a pile of salt, and I just pray that Mike keeps his distance from me tonight, and next week we can be friends again. But for right now, holy shit. I brought him in, and he takes me down.
Yeah, I do want to thank you for inviting me into the league, Dale.
Yeah, you're welcome.
I do appreciate that.
You're welcome.
And I also want to point out that Dale did, he chose, he was able to draft, I think, 12th or 11th, and I drafted 12th.
Yep.
So every player that I had, including that defense, he actually had a shot at, and he chose not to draft. So, you know, just want to point that out. Also just say that the very first text I got from him, which was about 8 hours after it all went down, was, "I'm sorry, we cannot be friends anymore." And that's about how you have to handle it. So.
Yep.
Anyway, fantasy football is reaching that point where it's getting really fun for some, and as we found out, really annoying to others. And we know the GDB League is entering the playoff section. Yeah. Yep. Right now, we've had 1 week. We go 2 weeks back to back, same teams, and we just kind of balances things out.
It's different.
It's different. It's a little bit different. It balances things out a little bit so that if you have a bad week or a player that doesn't play for some reason, you'll probably get him back the next week or vice versa. So fantasy football. But in the NFL, there is other news much, much bigger, and that is 3 wins in a row for our Browns. 3 wins in a row. And yeah, thank you. And looking solid. You ready?
I'm ready. I'm ready.
Okay. But they're actually looking kind of good now, and it's getting exciting. So we've got a few questions surrounding Pat Shurmur. Does this change anything for you with Pat Shurmur? And if not, how many wins out of the 3 games we have left would you have to see to make your opinion of Pat Shurmur change? And this is all based on the foundation of we all wanted him out of here. So what would it take to keep him here, and or are we there yet with these 3 wins and looking a lot better? Along with this, we've got the Cavs, and Kyrie Irving and Waiters have been out, and they've already, there weren't many games, but their offense is just sort of disappeared in a lot of ways. Their defense has gotten worse. We're still only a 4-win team, but a team that has looked very, very, very good so far. So they're about to get these players back. Do we want to rush them back? Can they just let them sit for a week or 2, a month? Does it really matter at this point?
A month or 2.
Yeah, can we let them sit the rest of the season maybe?
Let's chalk it up.
So we've got to look at that. I think that we need to just kick this right off with
Browns time.
Game Day Battle is brought to you by Bamboozle's Restaurant and Lounge in Parma. They have the best drink specials anywhere. Seriously, buy one, get one free drinks. How often do you hear of it? You don't. They do it twice a week. Billy's mom makes the pasta sauce all the time, and the burgers, you simply won't find a better one. Check them out, bamboozles.com. Again, bamboozles.com. When you go there, tell them GDB sent you.
So one more time, let's give the Browns some love. 3 wins in a row. That's NFL football. And we can look at who we played, and it was Kansas City, and they're not a good team. In fact, is it safe to say that Kansas City is a team that has had similar sort of fate as that we've had, but we might have progressed further than them over the last year or so? And the fact that they have a couple of key players of ours, and one of them starting, might be a good indication of where we were and where they are right now. So if we want to look at the teams, we can. But more than anything, the 3 games that we've won, does it mean anything to anybody? Does it really matter, or is it just fun?
I think it means a lot to the fans to go out there and actually get wins and see your team go out there and do what we should do. This is a team, Kansas City, that we should have, annihilated, and we did. This is our blowout of the year. And to see us, put together 3 solid wins, I mean, it's just great to be winning, however it is. I'm not going to go jump on Pat Shurmur's nutsack and all of a sudden crown him. He's still the same guy that he was 4 weeks ago. I wanted him out then, and I still do. But I think what we're seeing is that we have a lot of potential, a lot of young potential. I've never seen so many rookies come out from one class and just shine. 3rd-round picks, you know what I'm talking about? Just coming out there and getting it done, and these guys are really performing. And I don't know, I wouldn't call it playing for Pat Shurmur. They're not like trying to save him, I don't feel, but we have a lot of talent on the field, and I would like to see what a real coach can do with it. As far as him sticking around, I really don't want it, but if he can pull us to 8-8, I'll say give him another year.
Well, and that's interesting because it's easy for us to, when we look at a player and say Brandon Whedon, he may have had a good week or a bad week, and say he's progressing or regressing or he's off for some reason. We don't automatically do that for a coach. We don't see 3 wins and think, wow, this 2nd-year coach is finally coming into his own and finally able to feel comfortable enough to open up the playbook and stuff like that. Do you think that that's really fair, or do you think that's really the way that it is, that the coach really is the one that sort of the entire season more is representative of the coaching staff?
Well, no, I definitely believe that there are coaches out there that are hired to learn on the job, and that's definitely what we've all seen Pat Shurmur doing over the past year and a half. The program is starting to come together, and the players are starting to gel, and we're seeing some chemistry out there. We're seeing the emergence of potential superstars. Josh Gordon going out there catching 7 balls, 90 yards, touchdown, consistently. He's starting to just look like a serious #1 potential Pro Bowl wide receiver. And we got him with a 2nd-round draft in the whatever they call it.
Supplemental draft.
Supplemental. Thank you. I'm still flustered. So, praises on both sides of the ball, offense and defense. I like what I saw, taking away that Jamal Charles run. And if they can finish out the season solid, is it true that there's playoff potential? Can somebody back that up for me?
That is fact, actually. By the numbers, we're not out of it yet. In real football terms, we probably are.
Right.
But a lot of things can happen, and they often do. And we could find ourselves at least fighting over the last maybe game or so. But overall, though, you're not in any way moving from where you are in Pat Shurmur as far as him being our head coach next year.
No, not yet. I still think he needs to go.
Well, and the follow-up question to that is, 3 games left. He wins 3 more. That's 6 in a row. That means we end up 8-8, I think.
Yeah, and even I, an admitted Pat Shurmur hater, if he can pull out a 6-game win streak, and pull us to 8-8, I would say that earned him another year, regardless of how any Clevelander feels about him.
7-9.
No.
All right, so it's 3 or nothing.
Win them all out, or you're out of here.
All right, and it's a tough thing to do.
Because you know what, 8 wins could get us into the playoffs. 7 wins does nothing but fuck up our draft picks.
but it's a significant sign of improvement probably over what was it, 4 wins last year?
I wouldn't call it a coaching improvement. I would just call it a player progression improvement, and I'm sure most would agree.
A top round running back and new quarterback.
Yeah,
maybe the difference.
And progressing players.
Yeah,
your youth is progressing, and your prior picks are starting to show what they can do. And we have a vicious defensive line if they can stay healthy. We got a real nice 7-man rotation.
Now that they're all there too.
Yeah. And like we talked about before, getting our big men back in the middle just made everybody better. Ruben and Taylor back.
Yep.
Now all of a sudden you're seeing Sheard and Rucker actually come out there and put people down, and you got young guys like Billy Wynn. And I don't know. I see a lot of potential on this team, and I just think we need a serious leader. But there's a lot of coaches out there, and I want to pick the right one. I don't want to just jump on a name because he had connections with some guy in Philly.
And you're saying no, learn on the job with the next coach.
No, we got a team that we need to get together and make a run.
All right.
Because this is the window that we've been waiting for. We've been waiting for Pittsburgh to hit the decline, and they are. Mm-hmm. We've been waiting for Baltimore to hit the decline, and they are. Cincinnati's on the rise, but they're still shaky.
They are.
This could be their division, but it's about to be Cleveland's time.
And we've got Richardson for probably a productive 3 more years, and 2 to 3 more years, and Whedon ideally would be coming into his own in the next couple of years, and so it really is that rare window when everything should come together, and we do need somebody to pilot that has the ability to.
So, Mr. Torres.
Yeah, are you swaying at all? Are you changing at all from your get rid of Shurmur based on these 3 wins?
Dale made some good points there about the team progressing and all that stuff. But you got to give it up for coaching. They're progressing as well too, because they didn't have this hand last year, so now they're dealt with this hand this year. So basically, they're playing the cards they have, and they're starting to come together. One thing Pat Shurmur said was that this is healthy as a team has ever been. So yeah, every player is ready to go now. So this is the time you want to be doing it as the season extending, because usually this one guy is getting hurt. Usually when they shut them down for the rest of the season, they don't want to bring their guys out there who are worth millions of dollars, and just throw them out there to get pummeled. Why not? Why do that? This team is showing progression. They're healthiest that they've ever been, and they're showing it on the field. They're putting out a winning product, and that's what you want. You want to go and see some winners, and that's what they're doing.
Exactly it. We went through the same thing with Mangini, and we've done with other coaches. There's a mid-period right through the center of the season, or maybe this is a little bit later in the season, where these coaches and these young teams and these teams that don't really work together kind of come together, and they do piece together a few wins. And we remember Mangini's wins over some big teams, and it was very exciting. But it's not like we went on to win the rest of the games. When these things happen, they go on. And when you look at the whole season, if we finish up with 5 wins, it's not much of an improvement over 4 wins last year. So while it's so exciting right now, I'm still looking at the entire season and thinking, yes, it's important to be at one place and progress and get better. That's awesome. That's great. It's great to see that, and it is a sign of a lot of things coming together, whether it be the young players or this young coach. But the reality is, do you want to start next year with a 5-win team or a 6-win team? And really, 8-8 doesn't do much for me either, because it was 8-8 with. Okay, granted, at that point, we've beaten a few good teams on the road. Denver, and we've beaten Pittsburgh on the road, and then we've had to beat Washington here, which, whether or not they're a good team is maybe another debate. So it does show that we've been able to win, but we haven't really run a good season. We haven't really brought a team together. I think we've gotten together. We've gotten a few wins, and we've gotten some lucky wins, and we've had some unlucky losses. Oh, I don't like the direction of the team. Put it that way.
Nobody really brought up. I mean, let's talk about who we beat too. Oakland and Kansas City. Let's not all go stroking each other off like we just fucking beat the Super Bowl champs,
right?
Or
Exactly.
Or the Patriots or something like that. These are low teams that are possibly worse than we are.
Right.
Some clearly. Kansas City, I would probably put Arizona below them. But I mean, we are still a bottom barrel franchise, and why 3 wins is always a shining point. you know, it's not going to be the savior of Pat Shurmur. I mean, the circumstances that we're talking about, should he win out, I think that would reward him, because we're pretty much pot committed on learning on the job. And well, he progressed. He won 4 more games than he did last year. 8 wins, 1 more will get you in the playoffs. So as sad as I would be, if they go 8-8, I think you'll still see Shurmur next year, maybe even with 7 wins.
Really see him here?
Yeah.
Oh wow. You know, and I think different only because even if we go 8-8, we're assuming that next year we're going to get a Washington team without RG3, which we might see this coming weekend.
Yes.
That we're going to get a Denver team that doesn't care anymore because they're in, and I think at that point they probably have secured their field position.
True, so that's 2. So
Yep.
who's that last one?
And then we got Steelers who are struggling. Yep, they're struggling. Now it's in Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh may need it to get into playoffs.
Absolutely.
But Roethlisberger's been hurt. They've been a team that's struggled a lot this year. They're not a dominant, solid, great team. And so we beat those 3 teams. Okay, that's 3 wins in a row, and now it's 6 wins in a row, and you've got maybe 1 quality win in there.
Yeah, you know, see, this is everybody's talking about quality wins versus bad wins versus good teams versus bad, but it's not about that. It's about you going out there and you're doing what you're supposed to do, which is win games, no matter who you're against. That's on the schedule. It don't matter what product you're putting on the field. You're supposed to go out there and beat the other team. So whether it be a good team or a bad team, you still got to go out there and win those games. And that's what they're doing. Everybody's talking about Kansas City ain't no good. Oakland ain't no good. You know,
they're not.
They're not good teams, but we're supposed to go out there and beat them. That's what we're supposed to do.
Well, I mean, that's true. We've reached a level where we beat the bad teams, and that's cool. And
but we took Philly.
Tier 1.
We took Philly.
That's Tier 1.
We took Philly all the way to the limit. We lost that by a point. And that's a good team. We took Baltimore to the limit. They beat us by a touchdown. Like, these are a lot of plays that came down to the final that we lost at games that we could have won. And then we would have been talking about
that's more to the pro side of Pat Shurmur.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
We were in a lot of these games.
Look at Shurmur last year. He's obviously learning on the job. We had a concussion gate, and we had all these little flubs with what he would say and do
or not say. He's not energetic at all. He's got the personality of a mop.
He does. Actually, I've seen a more exciting mop.
A wet mop.
Yeah, but how about Bill Belichick? What is he? He's not out there showing all kind of emotion.
You know what?
He's not he's not that Tom Coughlin.
Don't you dare put Pat Shurmur in the same sentence with Bill Belichick.
He's not that.
You can't compare.
I understand that. But you talk about emotion.
One of the greatest coaches ever.
Yeah, but where he had to start somewhere.
Pat Shurmur
he started here.
Talks like a little kid, man.
Yeah, but you know what?
He's got.
How about Bill Belichick?
Nothing going for him.
Gives the driest interviews ever. Let me
but you want to know what? When Bill Belichick says something to a player, no matter what it is, it's got a hell of a lot more meaning than something that Pat Shurmur says to a player.
Of course, he's a second-year head coach. What are you going to do? You're going to respect
you're the one that compared him to him. That's all I'm saying.
I'm just telling you, but that's how it is. So you don't have to go and show all your emotion out there because you're not out there kicking and throwing something. I'm not saying during a press conference
or anything like that, but even when he's in the locker room after the games and listening to him make his speeches and everything, it's just pitiful.
His win speeches are just awful.
Just pitiful.
Yeah, they really are.
I mean, compared to what we had before?
Shit.
I mean, exactly. You know, come on. I think the guy is just doing what he has to do, what he's dealt with.
Well, okay, he may be a great coach eventually. Do we really want to sit around for the next 2 or 3 years while he continues to figure it out?
Who are we going to get? Who's out there?
Well, that's a whole other question.
That's what I'm saying.
We're talking more about the merits of...
And that's how they're going to look at it as well.
We've got a new owner. We've got a new general manager or president, whatever his role is, and Banner's role. And we've got a whole new direction. We might even have some money to throw behind a few players.
I'm not a big fan of Pat Shurmur. But if you give me 7, 8 wins, and then instead of bringing somebody in to rebuild all over again, now these players got to get used to another head coach, whole different system now.
Cavs suck. Draft picks. Ramon?
Thanks for your take on the Cavs there,
No
Dale.
problem.
The Cavaliers, of course, 4 wins at the time of this filming, probably 4 wins when you watch this, too. I don't think that's going to change much. But what might change, we've got the Lakers coming into town Tuesday, and there's there's a possibility at least that Kyrie might play. Waiters is close to coming back. And the biggest question really is, we've got a horrendous season, at least record-wise, at this point.
So
I don't think we're looking at the playoffs. I don't know if we really want the playoffs at this point. They're playing hard. They're playing well when they're all healthy. They could win just about any game, and they're not quite there where they're getting over that hump and able to win these games. We need another player. We need another high pick. Do we really want to bring these guys back so quickly? They're rushing Kyrie back like a week early or some crap. And these weren't, in both cases, they weren't exactly like just, little nicks. I mean, they could be potentially nagging injuries. So
It's a broken finger.
that could be a nagging injury, dude. Try shooting a basketball when your finger's messed up.
Yeah. This actually that one-legged golfer who's out there holding ones. See him come.
How about a one-legged soccer player? That'd be more fun.
Ooh.
Probably one of those out there.
Yeah, you
Or
never
a
know.
no-legged basketball player.
No, that's good. He rolls. He rolls down while he dribbles.
Think about that shit.
So, anybody here think that it's good to get these guys back this quick?
Well, I think maybe their contracts say so. Incentives,
True. Ticket sales.
Yeah, hey,
Yeah.
we need you to be in this game, selling out these tickets, and it's a lot of things that maybe we don't know about why he's coming back early, and what there's so many points he's got to score a year. It's a lot of things that a lot of players think about that because there's their paycheck, this is their job.
Or he's coming back because the Lakers game is a nationally televised game, and if we don't have enough quality starters out there, they're going to pull our slot.
Well, maybe that too, but
Take on one of our nationally televised games, which brings a lot of draw to our team.
we're young.
We suck again!
We do.
Really bad. Like, really, really bad. I would take last year compared to this garbage.
No, I'll take this team. I like it. I just it's got some work to do.
A lot of work, like
It's
2
got-
or 3 years before the playoffs.
You know what I don't hear with the season going like the way it is? I don't hear anybody screaming for Byron Scott's head, and that's kind of cool. I
Yeah.
think people are kind of liking what he's doing with the team. It's just not quite there yet.
Well, I feel bad for him in a lot of ways too because all the teams he's kind of dealt with, it's just been teams that have been rebuilding.
He's been there though.
He built up the
Championship.
Nets, he built up the Hornets, and it's like he's like, "Oh, give me a break here, man."
Who's
But-
the best college prospect?
Probably somebody from Kentucky.
I don't even know at this point. Yeah. Sue's head. Do y'all put that together?
Yeah. I took his love for Seinfeld and worked it into a fantasy football name.
Yeah.
Because that's what I do. I'm a muse. I'm a creative muse.
Well, what you do is you take my team name because I was Mike's Mayhem.
Which you totally
Forever.
ripped off Project Mayhem.
No, I don't think so.
Lately, I've been Project Mayhem in every league in the history of fantasy sports.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, how old are you?
Yeah.
I've been around longer.
Well, Project Mayhem, I mean, that came out the same time. So we still got the same amount of years after Fight Club came.
All right, tell you what. Whoever gets further this year in the league gets the name.
Maybe I do need a name change. Seriously, maybe I do. Maybe it's bad karma.
Yeah.
That's why I can't knock it down.
I can work some magic.
Just throw up the helmet. There you go.
We are almost out of time, so we're just going to try to raise our beers quickly here. And this is something that we like to do every show. And it's just a chance for us to spout off and bitch about something or just talk for a couple minutes and act like it matters. So, on that note, Ramon Torres.
Oh,
Curveball.
yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
All
I'm
right.
raising my beer to these guys who are on these hands. Cleveland Browns, 3 wins in a row. Man, just sweeping the city, taking it by storm. Hey, and we all been waiting for it
Yeah.
for plenty of years, and I'm glad you guys are putting out a winning product because that's only going to boost everything, probably along with beer sales, prices. But
At least it's a happy hour instead
yeah.
of an unhappy hour.
so I'm just happy to see those guys win.
Good Dale.
See that?
And hey, these guys are just making Mondays a lot easier for me.
Well, that's true. That's true. You know who doesn't have an easy Monday? Dale Shantz Tursey.
This guy.
Oh, Mike, I'm going to kill you.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to call your lovely wife and tell her what I've done.
Yeah, she knows. I told her.
Oh, God.
When I told her I beat you, she goes, "How's Dale taking it?"
Not well.
At that point, I hadn't heard from you, so I said, well, probably not so good.
Well, I'd like to pour my beer to Mike Glass.
Awesome.
Taking me out of my own fantasy league that I've run for 9 glorious years, the wonderful King of Cleveland Fantasy Football League, of which I have never made it to the Super Bowl. And this was my year. I was the #1 seed. Again, Mike took me down, so a big F you to Mr. Glass. And I hope that you fall flat on your face in the Super Bowl. I want you to get there and then fail, so you were just there.
I'll get $100 for it then, right?
Wait, I want you to lose before you get to the Super Bowl. And then I also got a neat little story. I'm going to give you the fast version. I was on my way at halftime up to Southland Marks to grab some brats and brews, as I do on occasional Sundays. And I was in the parking lot. Somebody asked me what the score of the game was, in which I told him it was 10-7. I later ran to the same guy by the beer cooler, and he asked me for the updates of how we scored, and he told me that I looked familiar to him. And he asked me if we had spoke at some time in the restaurant, and I said no, but I said, have you ever watched the greatest web show in the history of YouTube, GameDay Battle?
This one.
And he was totally hip to it. Didn't know me by DST or anything super cool like that, but he knew about GameDay Battle, and he was the first person that I ever ran into outside of my own circle of friends and family that was aware of the show, and it really was great. It was like a kick in the ass for me and really helped shine the light back on the show for me and everything. So, Aaron, I'll never forget you, the first person to ever recognize GameDay Battle. You know,
and that's
unprovoked.
And it's a great story to hear as well. So
we're getting out there.
We are.
I'll drink to that.
Yeah, show some love.
Fucking
Enjoy it. I'm going to raise my beer to Dale Shantz Tercy.
I'm out of here. Go ahead, you raise it up. You raise it alone.
Yep.
Here you go, Mike. I'm gonna put the spot on you. This is all you, bro.
We have it. Thank you, Dale.
This is all you. Go ahead, raise that beer up. You're a winner. You're a winner.
You know what? It wasn't just that I won. It's that Dale invited me into the league. I know how much it means to him, and then I got to beat him. And not by like, well, I have a really good team, and he had a struggling team, he had a guy out or something. No, his team did really, really well. In fact, could have beat anybody else in the league. But it was that I beat him with a 70-point performance from a defense. That's just awesome. And I wouldn't have won otherwise. So, Dale, thank you for getting me in the league. And this is for the exciting Sunday that you gave me. And we'll see how much further I go. But
I'm quitting the show! Call Aaron, he works at Mark's.
And I will say that if I come up missing this recording, take this to the police. Take this to the police.